All right, for this problem, we are given this equation of a parabola, y equals negative 1/3 x squared plus 2x minus 7. And we're asked to put this into standard form and then to find the vertex, focus, axis of symmetry, and directrix for the parabola, and then to sketch the graph. All right, so first let's put this into standard form. So the standard form for an equation like this, where the x is being squared, is going to be 4p times y minus k is equal to x minus h squared, where h and k are the coordinates of the vertex, and p is the distance between the vertex and the focus. All right, so let's make this equation look like this. We're going to start by moving this negative 7 over to the other side by adding 7 to both sides. So this is going to be y plus 7 is equal to negative 1/3 x squared plus 2x. All right, next we want to get this x squared by itself so that we can complete the square on this and make this x squared term look like this. So to get x squared by itself, we're going to need to factor out a negative 1/3. So we get y plus 7 is equal to negative 1/3 times x squared, and then 2x divided by 1/3 is going to be negative 6x. Remember that dividing by a negative dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So dividing by negative 1/3 is the same as multiplying by negative 3. All right, so at this point now, we want to add something to this expression here, x squared plus or minus 6x. If we can add something that will make this a perfect square trinomial, then we can factor this down to something that looks like this. And the number that we're going to add here is going to be this number divided by 2 and then squared. So negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9, positive 9. So we're going to add 9 to this expression. And now this is a perfect square trinomial. It factors to x minus 3 quantity squared. So it's going to look like that. Now, we can't just start adding numbers to one side of an equation without doing it to both sides. So we need to balance this out. Whatever we added to this side of the equal sign, we have to add to this side of the equal sign. And on this side of the equal sign, we can see that what we've really added here is negative 1/3 times plus 9, because we're going to be distributing that negative 1/3. So negative 1/3 times 9 is negative 3. So what we've really added to this side is negative 3. And we've got to add the same thing to the other side. So let's put a negative 3 on this side as well. All right. Now, y plus 7 minus 3 is y plus 4. And over on this side, we get negative 1/3 times, and we said that this factors to x minus 3 squared. And we can check that by FOILing this back out. If we did x minus 3 times x minus 3, x times x is x squared, x times negative 3 is negative 3x, and then we'll have another negative 3x. That gives us the negative 6x, and negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Okay, so this is almost looking like this, but notice that the p here is going to be next to the term that's not being squared. So we want to get this negative 1/3 over to this other side of the equation. And we're going to do that by multiplying both sides by negative 3. So if we multiply both sides by negative 3, this just becomes x minus 3 squared, because the negative 3 times negative 1/3 is positive 1. And over on this side, we'll just leave that negative 3 out here. And now this looks just like this. And this is our equation in standard form. All right, next we need to find the vertex, focus, axis of symmetry, and the directrix. And that's going to be much easier to do with this in standard form. So let's erase all of this. And I'm going to put this equation now up here. -3 times y plus 4 equals x minus 3 squared. All right. Now, what I want to do first is sketch a little graph. So this doesn't have to be super precise, but let's just kind of sketch out what this is going to look like. So first of all, we know that the vertex, and let's write that in here, the vertex is going to be at the point 3, -4. So it's going to be, what are we subtracting from x? That goes here. What are we subtracting from y? That goes here. And so you're always going to be changing the signs here. This is a -3. Our x-coordinate of the vertex is going to be +3. This is a +4, so our y-coordinate is going to be -4. All right, now let's plot that point. So 3, -4 is going to be right here. That's our vertex. And we know, because we're squaring the x and the p is negative, that this parabola is going to go down like that. All right. And so if the parabola is going down like this, our focus is going to be in here somewhere, and our directrix is going to be a horizontal line just above that, that parabola. All right, so let's find the focus. The focus is going to be p units. So this little distance here is going to be the absolute value of p. So let's figure out what p is. Well, from our formula before, we saw that this number out here is equal to 4 times p. So 4p is equal to -3. If we divide both sides by 4, we get that p is equal to -3/4. So our distance here is going to be 3/4. We're going to go down 3/4 from our vertex, and that's going to be where our focus is. So our x-coordinate is going to stay the same, but our y-coordinate, we're going to go down another 3/4. So that's going to be -4 3/4. And actually, let's go ahead and put this, instead of putting it as a mixed number, let's put it as an improper fraction. So 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 is 19. So it's going to be -19/4. So there's our focus. The directrix is going to be a horizontal line. So that's going to be y equals. And it's going to be it's going to be 3/4, so p units above our vertex. So our vertex gets up to -4. Our directrix is going to be 3/4 of a unit above that. So that's going to be -3 1/4. And again, let's put that as an improper fraction. So 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13/4. All right, we're almost there. Last thing is the axis of symmetry. And the axis of symmetry is going to go right down through our vertex. It's going to be a vertical line, so it's x equals, and it's going to go right through our x-coordinate of our vertex, so it's going to be 3. X equals 3 is the axis of symmetry. So there's our vertex, focus, directrix, and axis of symmetry. Here's a quick sketch of our graph, and here is our original equation written in standard form.